Having two batteries on a boat is not an uncommon thing, especially for bigger boats. Once you get over like an 18 to 21 footer, it's not uncommon to have a single engine with two batteries. One for the engine start battery, being this one, battery number 1, and then one for your house battery or all your boat stuff being battery number 2. Not very uncommon. If you have a smaller boat like a 16 or a 17, it is not uncommon for you to only have one battery for your engine and your house doing all of the things in the boat. But once you start having a lot of stuff in the boat, you can always upgrade to having two, and it's not a bad idea. There are some tricks to using your battery switch correctly though, because if you do not use your battery switch correctly, you can drain both of the batteries at the same time and leave yourself stranded with no power, no ability to start your engine. Now, most of the time you're going to have a dual battery switch. So this is going to have a 1 position for battery number 1, and then it's going to have a 2 position for battery number 2. They will also have a dual position for or both or 1 and 2, depending on the type of battery switch you have, which will tell you if it says both 1 and 2 or not. And again, of course, you're always going to have an off position, which is off. On the back of the battery switch though, we're going to have 3 posts. One for one battery number 1, one for battery number 2, and then this common post. This is the post that's going to come out, and it's going to go to your engine with one cable. It is also going to go to your house or the rest of the boat with the other cable. They will always be on this post separate from the two engine posts, because these are only to go to your batteries. If you get these mixed up, you'll be pulling power from however you wired it up. So it's important that this is wired correctly. So when the switch is in position number 1, it is only going to give us power to here, being our engine in our house, from battery number 1. It is not going to be connected to battery number 2. If we connect this right here and we go to here, you'll notice that we have continuity. There is a straight connection from battery 1 to both of our components. Notice it's important that we do not shut off the power to either one of our components. So it's not like you can separate your house from your engine with one battery switch. If you had more than one battery switch, you could do that, but for this, you don't do that. And number 2, there is no power getting to here from either side. So you're never going to be pulling power from battery number 2 when you are in position number 1. If we go to position number 2, it's going to be the same thing. You're going to have continuity feeding power, straight continuity, feeding power to our engine and our house from battery number 2. But it's going to be nothing from battery number 1. So if we go here, we have an open loop and no continuity. Same thing, go here to here, open loop, no continuity, which means that we do not have any sharing of either one of these. If we go to the 1 and 2 or the both, that means that we're going to be feeding power to our engine and our house from both batteries at the same time. That's important because if you look, these will be connected. So 1 and 2 are connected, as well as this one. Basically, every single one of these posts is now connected, and no matter what you're consuming, you're pulling power from both batteries, which means you are draining both batteries at the same time. This is important because if you are sitting in your boat, let's say that you are going somewhere, you went to the sandbar, you went to the you go to the beach, you go to a spot to bottom fish, you're drifting, wherever you are going, if you have stopped at a fishing hole or wherever you are stopped at on the water in your boat, if you leave this in both, you're pulling power from both batteries. It sounds pretty self-explanatory, but it can get confusing, and it's important to remember this because if you are sitting somewhere using your radio, your chart plotter, your fish finder, or any other electronic that is on the boat, you're pulling power from both batteries, which means you are draining both batteries at the same time. If you turn your engine off, you are no longer charging these batteries. So the way you want to do this in order to use this properly is when you are running your engine, you're charging the batteries. You can leave this on 1 and 2 or both. But whenever you go wherever you want to go and you stop and turn your engine off, turn your battery switch to number 2 or however you have it wired up. If you have this as your house battery being number 2, then you change your position to number 2, so that way all of your electronics and all your power consumption is being pulled from this battery, which means nothing is being pulled from your other battery. So if you are there at the sandbar for say 6 hours and you drain that battery by listening to the radio, you've got other stuff going on, you got lights, whatever is going on in the boat, you're pulling power from it, you can drain that battery, and then when it's time to leave, you can switch this to both, or you can switch this over to 1 and start your engine. As soon as your engine is started, now you are charging the batteries again. You can then switch this to number 2 or 1 and 2 or both. And that way, as you go back from the sandbar or fishing or wherever you were at, you will then be charging up your house battery that you had drained when you were sitting without the engine running for however long you were running the power or the stuff that you were running when you were there bottom fishing, sandbar, beach, wherever you were at. And this is extremely important because if not, you will strain yourself. If you go somewhere and you leave this on 1 and 2 and you just sit there using all your stuff, you're going to drain both your batteries. You're going to be strained, which obviously is going to be a problem for you or a situation that you don't want to be in. So always remember, it doesn't really matter which battery, depending on how your boat is set up. Usually, if you have an 18 to a 21 or above, you're going to have 2 batteries and they're going to be the same size. So normally it'd be like a group 27 or a group 24 for your engine and for your house. Generally they're going to be the same thing. If you have a larger radio or you have a 1K transducer or you have upgraded electronics with multiple MFDs or whatever, if you have a lot of electronics on your boat, you might have a beefier battery for your house, or you might have more than 1 battery for your house, but that is going to be a situation specific to you and you should know what all you've got on your boat. But it doesn't really matter for everybody else that's got similar batteries. If you are on 1, if you are on 2, it doesn't really matter which one you're pulling from if it's the same batteries. Now, if you have a start battery for your engine and you have a deep cycle for your house, then yes, you want to only start your engine on the start battery, but then just leave it on both to charge both them at the same time, or you can put it on 2 and just let this thing be sitting here waiting for you to start the engine again without drawing down any power. It always depends on where exactly you are at and what you're doing. If you are sitting for a long time, never leave it on 2. That's the biggest thing to take away from this video. And you can obviously play with this however you want with being how your batteries are. If you've got the same batteries, okay, it doesn't really matter which positions it's on, just as long as you don't leave it on 1 that is going to drain a battery and leave you stranded somewhere.